And now, I don't know about timing actually, but hope it's okay. But yeah, one of the studies that where GMF members contributed a lot this year was this report. I was contracted by the Canadian Association of Nuclear Host Communities, SMRs, but all the members of GMF contributed, and the client is the Canadian Association of Nuclear Host Communities, but they are happy. I guess some of you have received this report, or I sent it a while ago. And their main interest was to know how do we go about community agreements for the SMRs? How does it work in Europe? Because they want to learn also from Europe. How does it work? And I said, well, we haven't any SMR actually, so we don't have any community agreements yet. But what could be interesting is to look at how this has worked for nuclear power plants, for research reactors, for repositories, for storage facilities, and then from here extract some lessons for future SMRs, and then learn from this how they wanted a template, a model of an agreement. And I said, well, we cannot get a model of an agreement, but we can get some guidelines. And this is what we did. So we started with an overview of current agreements between the municipalities hosting nuclear facilities and either the nuclear industry, the government, or the regulator, if there are any agreements. In some countries there are, in some others, well, with the regulators, not much. But in Canada, for example, yes, the Canadian Association does have a contract with the regulator, and they get quite a lot of money for experts and for visits. When they come to Vienna, it's because the regulator provides them with money to go to these international forums. But in Europe, this is very little. I know in Spain they have an agreement, but only for civil protection training courses, so quite little. So we can draw some guidelines based on this. So we studied 14 European countries. So some of them did not participate because they don't have they didn't want to participate. But basically, the methodologies, a literature review from the international, from the national publications, from also some sources that some of the members send me, or through research projects. I look at the quantitative and qualitative data. Then we had this presentation in Salamanca, different presentations focused on this topic, on the agreements. And then we validated this information through emails or meetings with the mayors, and some follow-up to cross-check the information. And basically the scope, the nuclear power plants, as I mentioned, the geological repositories, the disposal, the storage facilities, etc. Some ideas on the conceptual network, conceptual framework. First, we talk about agreements. So in the past, the word used was compensation, basically economic benefits or economic basically giving money out to pay for the impacts, environmental impacts or whatever. We talk about agreements. This could be community agreements. It could be, in some countries, they name it partnerships, contracts. So it has all sorts of names, but in the end, it's this negotiation that the industry or the government has with the municipality hosting the facility. And this could be either in the legislation, so they are collected there in the legislation. In Spain, for example, we have a specific formula for these, what we call the the local assignments or allocations to the municipalities, because they have the nuclear fuel there, because they have the waste. So depending on the population, depending on several factors, the distance to the reactor, they calculate in a formula how much money this municipality gets. And this is in the law, because the National Association negotiated this with the ministry. In some countries, in Belgium, this is locally negotiated, so it's not in the legislation. And there can be a combination of these incentives. It could be financial, it could be one lump sum, it could be a reduction in the fees, in the taxes, it could be basically local funding for future generations to decide what they will do. Could be many different things. Social in kind, this could be a community center or a sports facility or having information visitors, different kinds of things as well. And then community empowerment measures, which could be, for example, a review group, a local monitoring group for environmental issues, for health issues, an oversight committee. So different types of benefits of measures. And then the concept of added value, this is very well known, I think, in Sweden and Belgium. But in the other countries, they don't use this concept, added value. But I think it's really interesting concept. And actually, it was proposed in 2007 by the Forum on Stakeholder Forum, the Forum on Stakeholder Confidence of the Nuclear Energy Agency of the OECD. And because it includes all these ideas, this added value, as you know, it's not only it's going beyond the economic compensations, but including the idea of empowerment measures, of taking into account the well-being, this cultural value, the fact that living with this type of facility has also other things. It can be the visitors, the tourists coming in because of visiting this facility, or it could be the case of the Netherlands, where the facility is really an artistic facility. There's art inside, there's art outside in this orange building, can be an amenity, environmental protection, education and training. So it covers all these ideas, this added value. So I will briefly explain you 3 cases so that you see what you can find in the report. And I thought, well, one more, which is a neighbor of yours, so you might be interested. I know, Fabian, you always mention this, that you're interested in Finland, how much taxes they get from the nuclear and that you don't get. Belgium and Spain. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so for Finland, for example, Olkiluoto 3. These are the sources. So the units, you know, Olkiluoto is here. Eurajoki, the municipality, which was Olkiluoto, and the Rauma quarry, yes, you know, so in the Saka region, I think it's called. So the municipal tax revenue to Rauma is almost 100 million euros for this Olkiluoto 3. At peak times, Olkiluoto 3 had like 4,600 workers, 30 million to Pori in extra income. And in fact, Eurajoki is considered high revenue, low tax municipality because 90% of the real estate tax revenue came from the nuclear industry, from TVO, the industry, and Posiva, the radioactive waste management company. So this is quite a lot. They get quite a lot of benefits directly to the budget. And yeah, TVO and Posiva provided 20 million in property taxes. So this is almost a third of the total tax income, which is 57 million.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Could I ask? So it's 100 million. This is very interesting. For not a year, or is it for
No, I think it's for the whole construction. Yeah,
whole
I don't know. I have to check.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, this is a good point. Yeah, it must be for the whole construction period because it's a lot. It's more than actually it would be for Eurajoki. No?
But I think the 30 and 20 million, that's every year,
Yes.
every year?
every single year.
Yes. Yeah. This is every year. Yeah. To Rauma, I don't know because yeah. But to Eurajoki, I know because Eurajoki is a member of GMF. So yeah, we have this information.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to learn what the others are doing. Yeah, how the others. As an example, it's not only about economic, it's important, the economic value, but also an example, you might know this Wuojoki agreement that they had in the 1999. They had a mansion. I visited that in 2000, many years ago, 2006, I think, for one of the meetings. Posiva, I was a coordinator of a European project, and Posiva organized the meeting there, and they told us about this mansion. So we were in this nice place, good restaurant, and it was Posiva headquarters then at that time. And this ended in 2022, but they agreed on this, that this mansion was really difficult to maintain. It costed a lot of money. So Posiva had the headquarters not in Helsinki, but in Eurajoki. And they financed also the construction of a new senior center in Eurajoki. Then they gave a loan of 7 million also. They have helped to establish a business development fund and to build an ice stadium. And Eurajoki paid the loan with the rent income. So what can go wrong? It's a great negotiation. There are this Matti Kojo, he's a Finnish researcher. I know him very well. So he was criticizing, in fact, that Eurajoki was like put forward that, okay, you don't have anywhere else to build a geological repository. Come here, but pay us a lot because this will be the easiest for you. So there was this, they didn't look into other municipalities because he made it in a way easy, the municipality to say, come here, pay us, and you will get the deep geological repository as long as it is safe, obviously, but it helps the municipality. Belgium, here, it's an integrated integrated project for low and intermediate level waste. So again, the government asked for candidate municipalities, and Dessel, Mol, and Fleurus, another one, came forward. In the end, Dessel was chosen by the government in 2006. And they had this idea, this integrated disposal project. Nothing is only technical. Nothing is only about the concept of the repository, the safety, or the environmental and health impacts, but there are more things, and this should be part of this integrated project. And these societal things, which are important to the community, are, for example, a local fund for the next 300 years. So they had from the fund at the national level, they took 90 million euro. They gave it to the municipality. They earned the interest on that, and they can do community projects. And they said the future generations will have this to decide on the future and to see which are the priorities for the communities for the next 300 years. Consultation and participation is another pillar of this project. Belgium is not like Sweden, really small country, so special planning, mobility is another important pillar. Again, something we talk about, the skills, retaining the know-how and employment and safety. And then communication center for them was very important, a communication center, but not only communication center, but actually a but a community center. And I'll show you a picture in a minute. So the partnerships are really an organization, a non-profit organization. There are two partnerships, one in Dessel, one in Mol, or Stora and Mona, they are called. And a third is an association. A third of the association is the local politicians and administrator. A third is the social, cultural, environmental organizations, and a third is the economic organizations. So they have this voting on what they want to study, if they bring an expert, and Ondrafnairas, which is like the SKB, but State Authority, Radioactive Waste Management Agency, they have this contract. And they give them, I don't want to give the wrong number, I think 150,000 euros every year to the partnership to decide what they want to do and to pay the staff of the partnership. And then if this money is not spent, then it has to return to Ondrafnairas. And they have a problem also here because most of the participants are retired people who used to work at the nuclear power plant, and they are trying to see how you engage the youth. This is a general problem in most municipalities, I think, when we talk about engagement. So this is the great center they have, and actually next year, you're all invited. We will have the GMF assembly and seminar in Dessel. Our idea is to combine this with the European Parliament visits, because Chris van Dijk, who is the mayor of Dessel, is also the member of the European Parliament. So I think we have the dates late October, I think, I don't know, but we can send them around, save the date. And Dessel is this Tableau facility is great to visit. I've been there several times. The idea for ONDRAF was, for the Radioactive Waste Management Agency, was to show, this is tableau is table in Esperanto. So this structure is fixed, but then this structure, this wooden structure here is not fixed. So in the future, this would go out, and then the community can decide how they visualize this facility. And this is close to the repository for low and intermediate level waste. So outside there is a promenade, a walking tour, 5 kilometers, not much, and this cobalt 60 spheres, and they can playground and so on. Another idea of the partnership, another requirement to the Radioactive Waste Management Agency was to follow, to do a health study and to follow the health impact to the population from the pregnancy to 18 years old, to see if they have any hazards on the health and the pollutants, and an epidemiological study with 300 kids, which I guess will finish in 2028, I guess. And so it's one of the most monitored regions in Belgium, actually, because they monitor 3 municipalities in the area. All good?
Yeah.
Okay. Spain is different. We have a tax on nuclear installations. So this is this installation special characteristics. They pay to the hosting municipality 3 to 6 million per reactor per year. For example, where I am, Barcelona is here. So here in Tarragona, there are 3 reactors operating now. One is closed. So one of the municipalities has 2 reactors, actually, so they get quite a lot, more than 6 million per year per reactor. Apart from this, there is a tax on economic activities based on the installed capacity, and the 75% of this total amount goes again to the hosting municipality. And it's 1.5 million, I think. And also in the 10 kilometers area around the nuclear power plant. And also if they are doing works or construction or so on, 4% of this tax also goes to the hosting municipality. Apart from this, in the legislation, as I told you, it was foreseen, because AMAC negotiated this, the KSO in Spain. There is a fixed allocation depending on the type of facility. So if it's a nuclear power plant, or if it's the storage facility in El Cabril, the repository, and the variable amount, as I mentioned, which depends on the population, the distance from the reactor, and the percentage of the municipality which is in the zone of influence of the facility. Or Nachuelos, which is a really tiny municipalities, where El Cabril, maybe you've heard El Cabril of low and intermediate level waste. So they have a revenue of 3.4 million, but actually the allocation from the Radioactive Waste Management Agency is 3.3 million euros.
There's a question about the tax. Is it locked on any certain areas where you can spend it, or could you just put it in the main pile of money in the municipality?
It goes to the municipal budget, but this has been shown to be, it's not a problem, but then the citizens doesn't see that a lot of the budget of the municipality comes from the nuclear power plant. So they wanted to change this, and you are far advanced to promote this, and to promote the fact that the projects funded directly or indirectly by the nuclear industry need to be seen by the citizens, and that municipalities cooperate better with the surrounding municipalities among themselves. So they, AMAC realized of this and changed a bit the legislation, and also they included this idea of promoting economic and social development in nuclear areas. And also to see, well, in the future, if we decommission the nuclear power plants, we need to do something. We need to think ahead, what is the future? So then they said, okay, the municipalities need to come together, think of a project together, and then they send this project to the ministry. Then there is a commission. They decide which projects they fund and which projects they don't fund. And then it works differently, because then you can really see it doesn't go entirely to the municipal budget, but to the specific project. And every year they change the priorities. So it could be that this year we promote the entrepreneurship, the tourism, the cultural. So it's different. Yeah. And then also for the commissioning for these areas where there's the commissioning going on or the commissioned nuclear power plants, also there is a what it's called a just transition fund that they provide money depending on the projects that they present. There's also a commission which approves, okay, we give a grant to this specific project or not. So rehabilitation of some residents, of some cultural houses, facilities, and so on. So overall, there's more information in the report for the different countries, but and obviously Sweden is also there, but you know Sweden already. No one size fits all. So every country is different, every context is different. So what works in one country, for example, the local partnerships in Belgium, they tried to do it in Slovenia, didn't work. Every country is different. So we need to be aware of this. Don't try to replicate, but you can adapt depending on your circumstances, the local, the national context. As I mentioned, we don't see agreements with regulators, but a lot of agreements with the nuclear industry and with radioactive waste management agencies. And for new nuclear, I think the idea of engagement is crucial, that the local community has a say in that. So what we came up is with pillars, like, okay, not a model, not a template of a model, but things to be considered in a possible agreement, which could be financial incentives, different kinds, these trust funds, this reduction in electricity bill, land use, for example, protecting the property values, or social housing, quality of life issues, health monitoring programs, cycling routes. This is common in Slovakia, for example. These local monitoring groups or independent scientific advice, getting your own experts, and that will help you to get your own experts, independent, community development, employment, the supply chain, employment and procurement, and training skills, which are also crucial. Also in the report, there are steps for negotiating a community agreement. So knowing your community and then the capacity, how to make inclusive engagement, etc. And then a few words on Darlington. Well, it all came because the mayor of Clarington, in this area of Darlington, when they will be the SMR, he told me, I do have already an agreement, but he didn't want to share it with me when I was doing the report and not later on. It was an agreement from 2014 with when a new nuclear power plant was foreseen. So Ontario wanted to use that agreement now in 2020s to negotiate the SMR. So he said, well, we are negotiating. This study has helped us a lot, but I still need to see how we go on with the agreement. So actually, I need to ask him, can you share it with me? Because, he sent another agreement of IGNACE, where they did geological repository. This might be interesting for you. But he didn't share this. But these are some of the concepts that the Ontario Power Generation is considering as pillars as well for new nuclear development. Well, I see that. I have the hosting agreement for IGNACE just to have an idea. For example, they want to build a center of expertise. They consider the full life cycle, not only the licensing, the operation, the construction, but really once it's closed, also we will get some benefits, or the community will have a say on this in the future. And then financial benefits, they get milestone payments. For example, if we issue the license to construct 6 million Canadian dollars. I don't know, it's less than dollars. It's $4 million. I'm not sure. The license to operate, then another payment. Or they also get these annual payments, and then if they are not selected, these exit benefits also apply. I was talking to the people in the Netherlands, in Borsele, and I told them in some municipalities, when they are entering the process, because in Borssele now they have this idea, well, they have the project, the national government has this project to site 2 new nuclear reactors, but now they have 3 more candidates in other parts of the country. Some of them are nearby, and it's funny because Borssele is helping them to start the community participation to push the government to make a decision sooner. You know, so to me it was funny to say, well, all your learnings you are sharing with them for free, but they said no, because this way we will push the government to make the decision further, and we want them to decide, obviously for Borssele, but this way we will all go in one, you know, and together. So I told them, well, if you are not selected, have you thought, no, are you thinking what you are going to do? Because this was one of the drawbacks in Spain, that we spend a lot of time with the municipalities in one of these processes, and then once it finishes and nothing is decided, you are out of the game and you get nothing, and the stakeholder fatigue, all the time you've spent, all the resources. This is not the case because of the added value program in Sweden that you had at that time. So for me, it's interesting that from this study, we can now update the information and also look for information in other countries. For example, we have a meeting in Vienna on the 10th to the 12th of December. If anyone wants to join, is interested, you're welcome. One of the points will be I will present this study again to see if more countries can give us information, we can update, we can broaden this, and this could be very interesting for the future of SMRs and how municipalities are deciding based on some pillars, so making agreements as well. And if we can have some standardized framework for SMRs or for new nuclear facilities. Okay.
As you know, we have this add value funding.
Yes.
Depository. This is for new nuclear power plants.
I'm sorry?
New nuclear, or is it for the depository?
For you at that time?
No, it's asking if all of these projects is for repositories or only for new nuclear.
No, this depends on the country. So some are for the operating nuclear power plants, some are for radioactive waste management facilities, some are for the research reactors. It depends on the country.
Okay.
So for example, for Spain, I explained you the operating nuclear power plants and also the decommissioning nuclear power plants. For Belgium, it was the low and intermediate level repository. So it really depends on the countries. But the idea was to have this overview of all different types of facilities and seeing how it works differently in different countries. Yeah.
Well, I can say that this is the reason why we did the pilot project in Östhammar with the tax question. It's just because when you went to Spain, to the US, where you talk with the Canadians or the Finnish, and you saw the pretty big difference if you get 20-30 million euros a year compared to us. When you say, oh, how much do you get as a municipality in Sweden from the operator or from the taxes, and you say nothing. People sometimes ask us why we even do it. So that's why I saw a need for that that project. And I think it's good that we now have it, that we can use it in the discussion in Sweden, because to be honest, even if we're talking about the new nuclear, new municipalities, there will be a need for, you talked about the water and sewage earlier. Only that question is for us in Östhammar, it's a 100 million euros project when we talk about just the water usage. So some type of new tax or funding or something, or just to change the taxes to go to the municipality. I see it as something that must be done in some way. That will be hard.
And over time, so it's not just one pile of money in the start. You have to do it over time to be an attractive place to live and work and have the sustainability what this demands in the future as well. So I think this not today, but many years ahead. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can only compare with it might be a hot topic, but Vesa, that is the mayor in Finland, that was the low tax municipality. When he told me about their system, well, he basically said, the more industry that we get, the more nuclear power we get and the repository, the more we lower our taxes, and more people that doesn't even work in the nuclear industry, they see us as an interesting municipality to move to. We get more high-income people that lives here, and we can keep the economy going and so on. They talked about his positive spiral, and when I told our system, I said, well, that must be a negative spiral. You get a higher cost and more hardship for people. But
Yes.
There's been a discussion in Sweden about the property tax for wind power mills. Because there's a lot of municipalities that doesn't want them anymore because it's the people around doesn't like them in the area. And then they were talking about, yeah, but maybe the property tax should be for the municipality instead. But I think that should be all kind of power. I think that's a big topic we need to start discussing and saying it shouldn't be just for the wind power mills. It should be for all kinds of power.
Are there any discussions in Sweden about this? That's my question, because we have one big problem. We have now a high school that we have to invest in for 1,500 million Swedish crowns. And if we have to invest in water, in roads, in schools or whatever, then we have to tell our citizens that, sorry, we can't invest in a high school. We have to do this for Vattenfall. I mean, come on. I'm not going to do that. No way.
Yeah.
So we have to have this discussion in Sweden. Otherwise, we have our power in this in the municipality is that we have to approve. We have to go to the municipality board, the board, and approve.
Yes.
Say yes. And in the same time saying to our citizens that we have to put this investment put it aside. Yeah. I'm not going to do that.
Do other facilities like chemical facilities or chemical industry pay a tax?
No.
I know.
No, nothing.
It was like that before 1985 or some in the 1980s. And then the tax has been paid to the government. And there's also you should know there's a liquidation or system in Sweden. So poorer municipalities get a little bit more money than the more rich municipalities. It's a quite complex system. But could I ask you, I mean, as a professional, as a Swede, you can be a little bit jealous when you see the presentations about what is possible in other countries. I can agree with Fabian, absolutely. And in Sweden, the possibilities are not so impressive, except the added value agreement you must add. But from your point of view, is there any system model you say that could be interesting? I hear what you say. This must be adapted to the national culture, so to say, and local possibilities. And most important, you shouldn't get too close to industry. There has to be a clear line between public authorities, municipalities, and the industry, of course. In other countries, it's not so clear. Industry pays a lot of facilities, swimming halls, and facilities for leisure and whatever, cultural houses. But you have to have this board very clear. But is there any type of solution you think this is quite interesting and possible? Not in Sweden. You don't have to mention a country, but it's up to each country to decide.
Yeah. For example, the Hungarians took the Spanish example, and they look at the legislation and they try to find a similar formula. So for them, it worked, and the ministry decided, okay, in Hungary, that they would pay the four local associations where they have nuclear facilities. They would pay some money to the communities to do some work at the local level, no, and to have information and so on. I'm not exactly familiar with the taxes, but the system for this formula in the legislation, they put it in the legislation. When I presented this in France, they were amazed and they were like, wow, we don't get any taxes because ADF is a public company. So, wow, this is, this is enlightening because maybe we have to bring this at the national level to discuss this further, because this is not fair either. So I think it's up to every country, but now you have a great opportunity in Sweden that you are discussing new nuclear, to open this debate and to see how it can be improved. And as you said, you have to say to your citizens, we have to prioritize our spendings and where the tax goes, and all citizens pay tax, so they understand, and industry pay tax also to the municipality, which is their neighbor. So, yeah.
The pilot studies, I informed you about this in Sweden, and Östhammar has one of the studies is concerning the values for municipalities, real estate and tax issues. It's very interesting, and it has to go up to the top level. Yep.
I think one thing was Lucas talked about with I think what you need, if you just leave the numbers and the percentage and so on in taxes, what you need is something that is by law or legislative, that you can count on for many years, as long as something is up and running. Because the problem with the added value program that we have is that it's fixed for what you can use it for and for how long we have it, and also in numbers. And the same thing is with the tax from the wind farms, is that it's not actually put into the law, it's put into the budget, that the funding or the taxes from it will be given to the municipalities. So the sad part is that just by changing or in a new budget, you could say, we will not give it to you anymore, then it's gone. So I think compared to like Spain, where you have something written in law that it takes more time to change the law and it's a longer process and so on, so it's more secure. If you don't have that, everything, it's just, a spring budget and it's gone. Or something new will happen in the fall. So I think that must be the main way to go.
Yeah. It's also a benefit for the companies that has the nuclear power as well, because they want to be in a municipality that has a robust future as well. And with this funding, you can build that robustness so they can get their workers and so on. So I think it's a win-win in this case.
Yeah, because you can invest, you can attract people. Now that we talk about the problem we have with the young people coming to live in these areas, which is not Stockholm or, how do you attract these people? Well, making it livable and
And I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but it's in the report that from all the fees and taxes that a nuclear power plant, for Forsmark as an example, pays, 2% of all the tax and fees stays at the municipal level. 1% stays in the actual municipality. And that's the income tax from the people working there. So it's 99% of all the taxes and fees go somewhere else.
It's not okay.
Somewhere else. I think this also is important for the acceptance in the community.
Yeah.
And traditionally, the nuclear power companies in Sweden have been good at supporting our sport associations and stuff like that. But that's also been they stepped back from then when there was a downfall in the industry and not this futuristic picture. But now I think they need to restart that program and starting to invest in the communities again, because to heighten and strengthen the acceptance.
I think it's up to Okay, so can you
Yeah.
to start this discussion and taking it up to national level?
Another area, competence building, is also very important,
Yes.
of course, both for industry, universities,
Yes.
and the local level municipalities,
Mhm.
and not only the higher level of education, but also more
Yes.
local, as someone mentioned, Niklas from Oskarshamn today, electricians or whatever, or plumbers, or which you can deliver locally,
Mhm.
hopefully,
Yes.
and that's good, and could attract people moving to that municipality, of course.
That we are jealous in the rest of Europe and in the engagement process you followed also. So yeah, everyone has its pros and
Yeah,
Of course.
but you can learn from all the others, always.
sure. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Or we can get the presentation.
Sure, yeah. Thanks again.